So I went to school, and I was at Wallace, and I'll never forget that day. I was walking out of history class into my math class, and the doctor called. And he said, "Miss Hancock?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Your report came back. You do have cancer, and I need to meet with you today or tomorrow." And I said, "Well, I'm leaving to go out of town at 3 o'clock. You know, I'm at school right now. You know, I'm leaving at 3 o'clock. Our whole family's going on vacation." He said, "Well, I really need to talk to you." He said, "Can you come on today?" And I said, "Well, I can be there in an hour." So I left and went and told my math instructor. I was crying. I was upset. You know, I told him, I said, "You know, I can't come. I got to go to the doctor," you know, what they had said. And then I went over to the Wallace, some advisors that I use through the TRIO program. It's a program to help people with disabilities. And I went over and I was bawling, and they said, "You're going to be all right, you're going to be all right, you're going to live, you're going to be fine." And I said, "I'm not worried that I'm not going to be all right. I'm worried that I won't finish school." I had been to school, it took me this long to go to school, and I'm not going to finish. So, I mean, we sat there and I bawled, you know, forever. And then we left. I left and went and got my husband, and the kids finished packing the car for us to leave. Because I said, we can't disappoint them. We've got to go on. So we went to Decatur, we talked to the doctor. My oldest daughter met us there because she, you know, she was at work, so she met us there. And the doctor told us everything, you know, told me I had a week to decide because he knew we was going out of town, and, you know, to meet back with him on Monday. I said, okay. I went home, loaded the kids up. We left that day, and, you know, on the way there, I did cry some, but we didn't make it about cancer. You know, it was just like, to myself, I was crying inside. Of course, then we get up there, and we go, and, you know, and it's an emotional time because you're sitting here thinking this may be your last trip, a vacation trip with your kids. So I go up there, and my daughter sends my path report because she gets it in. So she sends it to my cousin here in Birmingham that's a cardiologist. He sends it to a friend in Florida that does path reports. Because at the time I didn't know it was triple negative. And so Jason called me while I was in Birmingham, or in the mountains, and told me, he said, "Vicky, so I just want to let you know that you have triple negative breast cancer. And this is, I don't do pathology reports, but I can tell you my friend." And he told me that, you know, what it was, what it inquired, what they may do and what they might not do. So I said, okay. You know, we went on with our vacation, and my parents was camping there that weekend. So I went over to where they was camping at, and I sat down and told them, I said, and my parents are older, and I had always taken care of them. And I said, "Mother, Daddy, you know, I've got to take chemo. I have triple negative breast cancer, and I have to take chemo." And he said, my days, I'll never forget, because that's when I broke. He said, "You can't take chemo, you're going to die if you take chemo." And I said, "Well, if I got triple negative breast cancer, I'm going to die anyway if I don't do nothing. You know, if I don't do nothing, I'm going to die. So what do? I have to do something." So I made a point from that point on not to go visit them during that time because it was so hard for them to understand the importance, because they're old school. They didn't know chemo's good. I mean, it's bad for you, but it's also good for you. I mean, I feel like it saved my life, you know. And so we went on our weekend, and it seemed like my oldest daughter came up there. She wasn't supposed to come, but she came. And it seemed like every time we turned around, they was taking pictures. And to this day, when I look at those pictures, I can see what I was thinking in my mind. My kids thought this was the last trip also that they'd ever spent with me. So it was very emotional. It was a very emotional time. But it was probably the best trip in the mountains we have ever spent.